Are you in a manipulation game and not know it? All manipulation tactics aim to control you to get what they can from you or make you a punching bag for their unresolved trauma. Most of us think that we will spot the game and get out, but it's surprising how many of us just can't imagine the darker motivations lurking behind the eyes of that other person, group, cult, or organization. Or we end up staying because we're invested, or we end up staying because we're too nice. But the more we know, the more we'll see and understand how to navigate it. Here are 7 games or manipulation tactics and how to navigate them. Game number 1, love bomb, then control. The early phase of the love bomb relationship is intense and moving fast. This applies to a romantic relationship or recruitment by a religion. They are focused on you, and it feels good. That's the point. Until you cross a commitment barrier. She moves in. You get baptized. You're in. And things change. Your partner lets you know that there's a new sheriff in town in subtle and not so subtle ways. You see things in your partner you've never seen as their shadow comes out. The bath mat that was okay last week must be 100% cotton now, or she won't use it. Or, with a toxic religion, you joined but are now finding out about controversies that would have made a difference in your decision to join. Things that were okay in the beginning aren't okay now. Toxic religions explain this as, babes need milk, but now you're ready for meat. Huh? But I joined. Or, as a toxic partner explained, I didn't say anything because I didn't think you could handle it, and clearly I can see I was right. Relationships ebb and flow, shift and change, and if you can talk honestly about what's happening and adjust, you'll be fine. If not, you're on to the next game. Game number 2, gaslighting with a side of revenge. The word gaslighting comes from a movie where the main character tried to make his spouse think she was crazy. Up was down, light was dark, what you think you see, you're not seeing. When you attempt to have a gap conversation with a manipulative person, you know you are getting gaslighted when one of 5 things show up as they seek to maintain control and avoid responsibility. 1. Denying. What you think you're seeing, you're not really seeing. 2. Diminish. Okay, perhaps there's a problem, but it's no big deal. 3. Deflect. Blame shift. This shows up as accusing you of something to shift the focus from them to you. 4. Deceive. Lie. They might share a mix of truth and a lie, but the end game is to discredit your facts or to turn the tables on you. 5. Word salad confusion. This is where elaboration explanations, babbling on about whatever to confuse the issue, shows up. With gaslighters, nothing ever gets resolved in a healthy way. This is by design. They can't accept responsibility, and they go to great lengths to make you or anyone else the problem. If you've experienced this, it's wild, confusing, and frustrating. But toxic people often come back with some form of revenge after the gaslighting. Revenge for the fact that you would attempt to hold them accountable. If you're seeing unexplained bursts of anger, accusation, or even abuse, a counselor told me that this is what gaslighters do to exact revenge for making them uncomfortable. The way to deal with toxic people who gaslight you is to exit because they can't be in a healthy relationship. Game number 3. Ghost, then re-recruit. Manipulative people disappear for one of 3 reasons. 1 is they are on to new sources of supply. Your old news. 2nd, it's a way to let you know who is boss. Ghosting is a power game. And 3rd, they want to test you to see how invested you are in the relationship. Because if you pursue them after they've ghosted you, they know they're in a stronger position to control you. If someone has ghosted you, drive on. They've shown you who they are. Especially if they show up trying to bring you back to the relationship, then you've seen the game and in a position not to play. When people show you who they are, believe them. Game number 4. Triangulation. The word triangulate comes from the surveying and mapping space. Additional points of reference help you establish reality. With manipulators, they triangulate when they bring in other people to gain power, divide, and conquer. When someone won't talk directly to you but uses an intermediary, they're triangulating you. Tell your mother that I'm angry with her and won't be home for dinner. When someone tries to make their point more powerful by recruiting others to stand against you, they're triangulating. One day, 3 people showed up at my office to let me know that my electric water heater violated company safety policies. Shocked, I said, "I'm all about safety, and why are we having this conversation with 3 people?" They didn't have an answer, but said that they were just concerned for my safety. But I knew it had nothing to do with safety. I picked up the phone to get clarification. The water heater was fine, not a problem, but the safety person suggested I move it to the kitchen so others could enjoy it. Smile. That was what they wanted. No problem. But why not just ask me to move the water heater to the kitchen if that was their end game? Because highly manipulative people know the power they have when they can recruit others to do their bidding. Hence, the group that showed up at my office. When you see someone pulling in others to have more power over you, it's a triangulation game. Which brings us to the next game. Game number 5, attack, accuse, then play victim. Highly manipulative people do some very aggressive things, and when you respond with any emotional intensity, that becomes their focus. This will feel like gaslighting, denying their role in your reaction as they accuse you of being an angry, abusive person. This is one of those games that the only way to win is not to play. You must not react. You must learn to respond with gray rock or an emotionally neutral place, yet with assertive clarity. I was with a partner who, just as I was leaving for a business trip, would accuse me of having an affair and that I traveled for business because I didn't want to be with her. At first, I reacted as would any normal person. Then I became the bad guy, the angry person, as she played the victim card. But then I found my gray rock place, the emotionally neutral response where I was calm, almost uninterested, as I spoke assertively. "It sounds like you don't feel loved because I'm traveling, and you think I'm cheating on you. Is that what you're saying?" More accusations. "I travel as part of my business. You and I discussed this job when I took it. I am not having an affair, and I don't appreciate the accusation. Is there anything else I can clarify?" More fear-based accusations that included, "I won't be here when you return." "Okay, well, do what works best for you, and I'm going to fulfill my work obligations. I need to leave now." Yes, they will accuse you of not caring enough when you go gray rock, but it's the only way to deal with the attack game. By the way, she was there when I returned and denied having made the threat of leaving, consistent with gaslighting. This same partner used to play the attack game with people in our church congregation. She would create conflict for what seemed like no good reason, then expect me to jump in and finish the fight. I handled the conflict as I did at work. Investigate the accusation, get the facts, then talk it through to reach a resolution. This is what adults do, but she accused me of not fighting for her and not being man enough. I had learned to gray rock her insults and attacks as I plotted my exit from the relationship. Game number 6, moving goalposts. When would you know you had done enough? With highly manipulative people, you won't, because the goalposts are either vague or moving based on their goal to control. My father would leave me a list of chores to complete before I could go play on a Saturday. I completed it, yet I would find that when I did, he added more or insisted that I redo some chores to a standard that he seemed to invent that day. I just wanted to go play with my friends. My father knew this and used it to manipulate me to get more from me because he saw play as wasteful. When I asked him to define done when he handed me the chore list, he refused. Fortunately, my mother heard this and intervened, otherwise, I would still be weeding the garden as we speak. Do the best you can to define the standards of what good looks like. And with some people they can't or won't define it because vagueness gives them the power to later accuse you of not doing or being enough. You are. And that's your sign to move on. Game number 7, release the flying monkeys. In the movie The Wizard of Oz, the Wicked Witch uses a group of flying monkeys to do her bidding. When a highly manipulative person can no longer control you, They do their best to turn friends, even family, against you. Parental alienation is a vile form of a flying monkey game. This is when a former spouse trashes you to the children so they turn against you. This harms children, all to meet the emotional needs of the former spouse. I have lived this. Be patient with your children and do your best to explain your side of things and why your spouse would do such a selfish, horrible thing to meet her emotional needs. Toxic religions that shun and disparage former members do so because the former member needs to be the problem rather than the truth claims of the religion. They must diminish the influence of the former member to continue to control their current members and recruit new ones. As a reminder, healthy people and organizations love you coming in and going out. They wish you well on your journey. Unhealthy manipulators release the flying monkeys, using friends, congregation members, and anyone who will listen to, disparage, attack, accuse, and diminish your influence. If you can find your gray rock place and respond to the flying monkeys with the same emotional neutrality and assertive clarity that you did with the manipulator, you will eventually win out. Eventually. From personal experience, I will tell you that it might take years to turn around the damage done by a manipulator. Understanding their game sets you up to better respond to it. If you got value from today's video, like and subscribe to the Change Capability Institute. Thanks for joining us today.